Hello, and welcome to
Hi.
Left and Correct,
The only podcast where both of us are left.
but only one of us is correct. Uh, Awahaha, and we are from Denmark today.
Yeah. And in Denmark, we watch, we see the coronavirus get out of control in the United States of America.
Those Americans never know how to do nothing.
Do Nazis? We're
Just
talking
do
about
nothing. They do nothing.
Nazis? Oh, do nothing for Nazis. Yeah. Oh,
In,
yeah.
in
Yeah.
Denmark, we kind of like the Nazis, so we probably should not talk about them.
Oh, the past is prologue. Oh my goodness. We just read Hamlet and Hans Christian Andersen all day.
We never had any more authors ever.
Nothing.
Nobody ever wrote a
That's
book.
nobody ever know. Helena Christensen comes from Denmark, and that's it.
Why mess with perfection? That's what the Danish say.
Yeah,
Is the girl from the dragon tattoo Denmark or Sweden? I can never
I think
remember.
Sweden. Sweden.
Sweden. There are a bunch of perverts over in Sweden because those three books were crazy.
I never read those books.
Oh
Remember when they were? Remember when they were like the entire like all the rage. Remember that?
yeah, everybody I
It
knew
was,
was reading them.
it was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time. They were great books or great movies though. The original. I watched them in Swedish several times.
Oh.
That poor girl, she couldn't catch a break. You get a dragon tattoo and you can't catch a break.
Is that how it works? Is it like one of those
Basically.
things like when they tell you like don't get a tattoo of like your partner because you're destined to break up, that kind of thing. So if you get a dragon tattoo, like trouble follows you, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
It must.
Seems fair.
Uh, yeah, it does seem fair.
Seems
Well,
right.
what is going on in the news today?
Oh, I mean, I think I've gone on about the post office before. Like that's kind
Yeah.
of one of my cause celebs,
Uh
and I
huh.
love the post office. I'm a post office like groupie. But today, Trump very much like a movie villain. You know how like in like James Bond movies and like movie villains will often be like, "This is plan," and meanwhile, like the person's trying, like the protagonist is like almost about to die and they're told the evil plan, but they get out and they save the day. Well, like Trump on Fox, or I think it was Fox. I don't know if it was like Fox and Friends or Hannity or whatever. It was just basically saying like, I don't want to fund the post office because if we give them money, then they will be able to handle mail-in ballots, and
Right.
I don't want that. Like, just said it. Like, that's here we are. Like, yes, I mean, this is what we knew for weeks leading up to this moment, but just admitting it is really, really, really like really frightening and horrible. And it isn't even. I don't care if you want to vote for Biden, don't want to vote for Biden. If you like Trump, for God's sake, like it's not. That's not what this like. My anger and my concern for this issue is beyond politics or whoever's on the ballot. It's about getting the ballot. And it's not even about the ballots. It's just about the mail in and
Yeah.
of itself. The mail.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
you
It's a
know,
pretty. I wonder what the strategy is to be so open about it. Because I mean,
I mean, one, he's an idiot, so he just says things and like doesn't realize what he says half the time, and then he will deny that he said it. Like this is what he does. That is possible, but also by creating this whole thing of slowing down the mail, planting the seeds of the election results being contested, maybe not being accurate, like planting those thoughts way ahead of the election that should there be a hiccup in a state, should there be a few ballots that didn't make it through, whatever it is, will give him reason to be like, see, this is interference, this is whatever. And, it will go into the courts, and the courts are all controlled by conservative Republicans. And, the second term is imminent. So I think it's also like, they don't care. I think that's also like he's got the cover, like no matter what. Like I was looking online, and the usual sort of like, Democrats, do something. Like they are, like it's in the friggin' HEROES Act of funding the post office. Nancy Pelosi can't control everything. The Republicans will not do anything. They will not hold him accountable. They will not impeach him. They will not, convict him. We're 82 days out from the election. It's really frightening. But it's just even beyond voting. It's people get their prescriptions in the mail. They get their bills in the mail. They get, it's the mail. It's in the Constitution. It's the mail.
It's just like a weird thing. Yeah, I think you're right about planting the seeds for future actions. Because in general, it feels like a weird thing to demonize the post office. Because I think for most Americans, it's just such a banal part of American life. Like the majority of people don't even think about it.
Right.
Like every town in the world
has a post office.
Yeah.
And it's like the post office, it's a 24-hour operation. You've got people who, a lot of it has been automated over the years. But even those mail sorting machines, like it used to be, people would have jobs. They would get a big bucket of mail and they would sort it by address. And now it's all done automatic, like by a machine. But those machines are being taken out of sorting facilities by the Postmaster General, who was appointed by Trump.
Oh, wow.
This is like, this isn't just like, mail-in ballots. It's like like my mom, who lives in Massachusetts, like she was complaining about, she worked for the post office, so she gets what's going on. And she's just like, I got my cable bill. It was the 8th or so. I think it was on my birthday, actually. So it was on the 10th. And she's like, I always get this on the 2nd. And now I'm getting it on the 10th. So now my bill is late. Now I got to explain, so it's this. And particularly since we're in a pandemic, like, not everybody does things online. You've got older folks who do pay bills through the mail. People do business. They use the post office because it's cheaper than FedEx and UPS. It's a whole friggin' thing. But I could.
Well, I guess removing those machines is wild. That's so much things that it affects. I guess they got the ability to do it right now.
But it's a matter of, I think, because most people do take it for granted, they don't realize how it does directly affect them. So even if someone's, aunt or uncle, grandmother, in wherever they are, like they are going to be affected by it. So regardless of who, whether it's a blue state or a red state, like it's incumbent upon everyone to contact our representatives and say, particularly Republicans, since they're the ones who can make these things happen in the Senate, just say like, don't fuck with the mail,
Yeah, unfortunately, it goes back to a decades-long process. Of the war we have in this country between public services and private services, and
the
so
Republicans
there's so many people who constantly take this default position, even if they're Democrat or they think they're liberal. You hear it all the time, people saying, oh, private services are better, private services are leaner, they don't have red tape, and it's like, in some cases that might be true, but most of the time when public services start to misfunction, it's because someone in the government purposely defunded them or purposely mismanaged them as a part of this drive to end all public options. And like, to me, it's just a moral question that there should be public services. because it
Oh,
provides
absolutely.
a space of well-being for everyone. You
Yeah.
know, it's wild. I mean, years ago, I worked at a company, and a large portion of our business was dealing with shipping out these stupid forms that customers would have to fill out to be a part of the process. So I went to a post office conference in somewhere in New Jersey. I can't remember the name of the town.
Ooh.
I later met the mayor of that town randomly, but that's a different story. And I saw the whole effect and process of how they were processing, millions of pieces of mail. And one of the things that I learned at that time, I don't know if this is necessarily a good or a bad thing, but they talked about how the volume of their actual mail had gone down. I'll wait for the sirens.
Yeah.
The volume of their actual mail that they dealt with for individual people had decreased like 60, 70%. And the main thing that they were shipping out was junk mail.
Yeah. Yeah, that has not in the internet obviously has decreased a lot of, why send a letter when you could send a text? Why people pay bills online. But yeah, junk mail still needs to get delivered. Am I frozen or are you frozen? Dak is frozen. He's being sorted right now.
Right. And so what I was going to say is, so that also has a detrimental effect on the public opinion of the U.S. mail, because so many people just see just garbage showing up. I mean, I know for me personally, I get like 2 things in the mail, and then every other day that I check, it's just garbage. I think that puts something in people's subconscious where they're like, well, why do we need this thing? It's just sending me trash,
Well, it's
And
but it's not the post office. It's the corporations that send out the trash. Like, it's really more like I'm more pissed off at Bloomingdale's
that
sending me.
bad them.
But it's the post office will deliver whatever. If it's addressed to you, they will deliver it, regardless of whatever it is. So in terms of it being junk mail or just like a flyer or whatever, like that's more, and it's wasteful for these corporations to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that is sad. I think that is another thing that decreases their popularity, which is 100% not their fault. Anyway, of mail, probably like 9%. But yeah, that's a shame. That's a real shame, because I think it provides a vital service, and many people put forward bills to turn it into a banking system, which would help people with payday loans. And I think that'd be a great way to save it, but very unlikely that's ever going to get through the Senate anytime soon.
No, nothing will get through the Senate at all. But the Republicans were the ones that really screwed up the post office years ago by forcing the post office to pay forward all of their pensions for all of their employees, like 75 years in advance or something like that, which really
it's a burden that no company has to have
financially. No, absolutely not. And but in terms of it being popular, people like it. It's like, nobody likes getting bills. Like, that's always like, God damn it. But it's, an unfortunate necessity of life. But also in terms of younger people, like what mail are younger people getting? Like, it's going to probably be bulk mail or junk mail, the occasional card from your aunt on your birthday. But, for older folks, or for folks or people with businesses and stuff, they rely on the post office tremendously. Like, old people love the mail. Like, that is the biggest part of the day. I'm not even kidding. Like, when the mailman comes, they're like, what could be in my mailbox? And even if it's just like, you know, People magazine, or even if it's just a flyer from the local church, it is like, oh, the mail came. So like you're screwing up like so many people's daily routines, and like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, in addition to like it being a pandemic and like people are being forced to sacrifice themselves and their children for the economy. It's a weird, I don't know, the next 80
Yeah.
some odd days are going to be insane. Ugh. So yeah. So but like I get so the post office. What? I, I will. I will. I will. I will.
It's a real shame
will.
because if it was fully funded, I mean, 90% of them in New York are disgusting too. Like they're. Well, I have no idea what you said.
Oh, I didn't say. I don't know what you said. For folks listening at home or watching, whenever it rains, whenever the weather is crummy, our Wi-Fi connection, because we don't have Verizon, is really bad. So bear with us. We love you. Thank you.
Verizon is an enemy of this show.
Yes.
They target us specifically.
Target you.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Well, you're associated with me, so you're going to start getting targeted by Verizon any day now.
Oh, no. Wait, someone's knocking at my door. Ah! It was Verizon.
The Verizon man.
He hit me with a.
I don't know what
their
symbol is as far as their mascot.
Just like a big V. Right?
I think it is.
It's just a big V.
Yeah. So what else is going on?
Well,
remember the other week when the ice sheet fell?
Yes. Yeah.
So now another ice sheet has fallen. Not as big, but in Greenland. But apparently one of the most famous climate scientists who was alive. Now it goes to tell you how popular climate scientists are, because I've never heard of this person, and supposedly he was number one. Sorry to drag you through the mud, Konrad Steffen, but yeah, he was out on the ice, and it just, like an epic movie, they say the ground turned into 1,000 cracks, and he fell in, and they couldn't find him.
Oh wow! Oh my God! I'm sure that's how he wanted to go, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt, like that. If I was a climate scientist, that's how I would want to go. Right? Like
that's right? A good question. I don't know.
So
I'm
not to but like maybe he knew that this thing was going to cave in and was like, I will martyr myself for global, for climate change. Maybe.
Wow.
So, the gentleman friend, like he'll put on, he'll watch these like documentaries on YouTube, and like the more obscure, the better. But like, then it'll just like, we'll fall asleep. So then when we wake up, it's like something completely different. And the other day when we woke up, it was about the Vikings and how when they came to Greenland and how they had to, because it's all just ice, and they had to like sell this land for Vikings to come and like prosper. So like, oh, it's green, haha, but it's all just ice. But this is obviously from like 20 years ago, because they're like, the sheets of ice all, how 5 million years old, and they go miles into the ground, and I'm like, oh, what the hell is this now? I don't even want to know. This probably is Greenland now, So yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, one of the effects of climate change will be that all this land in northern Canada and Greenland and stuff, I mean, honestly, could become giant swaths of farmland, if the temperature falls enough that the ground thaws out. And so there could be a little bit of a benefit there for us. It's probably not enough to save us. Because
no, because
what
then the
I
water
think the
would
general
rise.
consensus on climate, right, water would rise, but also I think the general consensus on climate change is not that like the world's going to be so destroyed. Like even 25 feet of water rising, I mean, come on. There's so much room in America for people to physically live, right? The problem is that systems will be so disrupted.
Well, I
Oh, this
mean,
Wi-Fi is destroying it. This
I
Wi-Fi
know,
is
but
our climate change.
yeah, but I mean, when it comes to America, the
You
only
go.
places worth I was just saying, with climate change in America, the only places worth living are along the coast. So should all these cities, be under 25 feet of water and everything have to, like Chicago would suddenly become like, but even then would Lake Michigan rise? No, because that's inland. I don't know. But it would be insane. It would just be like, nope, nope. DC is gone. New York is gone. Philadelphia is gone. Boston's gone. San Francisco's gone. LA is gone. Miami's gone. New Orleans is gone. Seattle's gone. Zach now is gone, and it is only me. He was a victim of climate change. He fell on the sheet of the sheet rock. And so, since I have you alone, dear listeners, oh, he's back. Bye.
Well, well, I think, yeah, I think just like the ice sheets, we should end this thing because I think this Wi-Fi has become untenable. So we'll do a short episode for today.
That sounds good. But I want to leave our listeners
All
with
right,
this.
but until next time, I've been Zach Zimmerfield.
And I've been Adrian Sexton. And send letters, buy stamps, tell your parents and your friends and your family to send letters and call their representatives. Send the post office, please. Please, please, please. And we have been left and correct.
This has been left and correct.